Two great guests in studio to talk about a little thing to kind of bring the attention to our local community. Joe Robertson and Kevin Dorcy are here. Kevin, of course, is a council member for the city of Shelton. Joe sent me a note, been a few months now, a while back. He says, listen, there is an effort afoot to rename the basketball court at Shelton High School against one of the former coaches, kind of how the football field has been renamed for Jack Stark. And we'd like to kind of get a little bit of groundswell of community support to see if that would be an interest to folks. There's a survey out now, and that's where we bring in Joe and Kevin. Good morning, guys.
Yeah, good morning.
Tell us a little bit more about the background on this, Joe, and then we'll bring in Kevin, who played for Coach.
Well, I came to town in '75, and Terry Gregg was coaching then, and for the next 10 years or so, as he coached in Shelton, I refereed in Shelton, got to know him, and my son was in his junior program. But anyway, as cable TV grew in the 90s and they started showing more and more college games, I noticed a lot of the courts were named after former coaches. And so I began thinking, even though Terry had left, I began thinking what a wonderful record he had. And, you know, history has a way of magnifying for us or putting in perspective for us somebody's accomplishments over a period of time. So whether it's the president of the country or whether it's an actor or a novelist, as time goes by, we get a better perspective of how that person did compared to others. And so I got to thinking in the 90s it would be great to name that court after Terry and his successes. Then the Jack Stark situation occurred. Well, now the school had in place policies, and so I thought it'd be the time to go in and talk to Alex Apostle, and Alex has been very, very supportive, and so that's how it got started. Terry's deserving, Alex is supportive. We hope the school board and the community will agree with it, and if so, we'll get that done.
Well, Kevin, tell us a little bit about your time being coached by Coach Gregg.
All right, well, I started playing for Coach Gregg the 69-70 year. When I was a junior. He was new in town. He did coach a year or two in the junior high before he went to varsity. But he took us kids, and we went from a mediocre at best basketball program to missing going to state our first year by a double overtime game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we had many of the same players, but the only difference was Terry Gregg.
What were some of the lessons that you took off the court from him that perhaps you still reference, you know, in your business life, in your city government life, things like that?
Well, I tell you what, just to back up a little bit from that, I coached kids when I got a little older, and I coached those kids exactly what I was taught by him, because that's really all I really knew about the real game of basketball. And I mean, right down to I'd have a sheet of paper with every minute what we were going to go over, and these are little kids, but still it was organized and planned, and just like he would have done.
That's awesome.
And then in professional life, I still run our business downtown. We're a team-oriented with our employees, and it just works.
It's amazing to think, and probably not at the time you were playing ball for the High Climbers, that you would so many years later still be referencing things. You know, you're just trying to play well, get the wins for the team, for the school, but a good coach can really stick with you a long time.
Yeah, as I was saying to the school board here a while back, there are, if you're lucky in life, there are people that enter your life that will leave a lasting impression.
If I can interject
Please.
one thing, Terry Gregg was also a wonderful teacher. Now, that helps you to be a good coach, but also he enjoyed his PE classes, and he told me a number of times he really liked working with kids that maybe were not interscholastic athletes, but they were in drama, they were in band, they were in school leadership, and he really, really enjoyed teaching them recreational rules and skills that they could use for the rest of their life. And I heard you talking last week with Dr. Apostle, and one of the things Terry was a front runner in was stopping bullying way back then. Terry would tell me stories about kids that would be not doing too much in school in any regard, but they'd pick on one of these kids that couldn't defend themselves very well. And boy, Terry put a foot down on that and stopped it.
That's great.
He really was a great teacher, and he loved teaching.
Tell me about some things you remember, because sometimes the coach-referee relationship can be strained at times. Well, how was he in interacting with you as a ref?
Terry and I were good friends. He was very respectful of the officials. I would characterize him pretty much like Coach Peterson at UW or Mark Few at Gonzaga. In other words, he wanted the game called correctly and fairly. He knew the rules. He would talk to officials, but he never threw a tantrum. He never got excited. I don't think he ever got a technical foul. And what he would do, if one of his players got a technical foul for arguing with the officials, he made him referee the next week in practice.
Oh, wow.
And so he was just all around good guy. I was telling in the green room. I was telling Dorcy about there was a play that happened in a Timberline Shelton game over at Timberline. Do we have time for that story, Jeff?
Yeah.
So Terry's coaching at Shelton at Timberline, and John Patton is the coach over there at Timberline, and I'm working the game as the referee. We have a referee and an umpire. Referee is the head guy, and so. There was a correctable error in the game. They should have been shooting free throws on a 1-on-1, but the table told us we weren't in the bonus yet, so we didn't shoot them. Well, then we found out we should be shooting them, and when we found out, the horn went off, Shelton quit playing, Timberline made a lay-in, and now the ball gets called dead, and now we have to go correct it, which means the basket counts, and then Timberline gets to go to the free throw line and shoot 2 free throws. So I got the coaches together and explained it. John Patton said, sounds good to me, and he walked away. Coach Gregg looks at me and he says, Joe, that's not right. And I said, Terry, it's correct. I know it's right. I'll see you tomorrow morning at junior basketball with my son, and I'll bring the rule book. Joe, I'm going to bet you a 6-pack right now. I said, Terry, I'm in the middle of a game. I don't think we can do that. And I told Dorcy, I don't think he's ever paid me that 6-pack.
Well,
no, he's just a great guy.
That's great. Tell us about what the community can do here. There's a survey out now, something like that.
Yeah, at the Shelton Schools websites, sheltonschools.org, you can pull that up, and it's pretty easy to find, maybe under calendars, but it's pretty easy to find, and it just says court naming survey, and it's 3 questions. Take that survey. It probably takes you longer to bring up the site than it does to take the survey. And so, yeah, we're just asking people in the community to take a look at that survey and take that survey. And there's a number of people that probably knew Terry, even if they didn't play basketball or had kids or grandkids that played for him. So it's sheltonschools.org.
Well, it's good to show that recognition when available, and good to have you guys here this morning and talk with you here on things. Thank you for that, and keep us updated. We'll make sure that everybody knows what's going on.
All right.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas.